Jesus was sitting on the side of the road. He was asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God would come. He answered them, "The kingdom of God will not come in a noticeable way, and they will not say, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is.' For the kingdom of God is within you." Do you hear the alarm? Rise up, summon your courage, and don't ask for whom is the bell ringing. It's ringing for you. You, children of the New Testament, open your eyes to see. Open your eyes, open your ears so that you can hear. Open your hearts to meet the one who is to come. For you know neither the day nor the hour. South of France, March 1884. The sun has crossed the celestial equator. Spring. A never new thrill of the flesh awakening to life. The life-giving moisture rises along the trunk of the tree to the smallest twig. The kingdom of silence, pure as the breath of God. The mysterious song of endless life. And the terrible silence of the world soul. Elena Petrovna was passing the zenith of her life. The illness slowly receded because the teacher placed an eucalyptus leaf on her heart. At the behest of the teacher, Elena Petrovna left for Paris.
В Париже на вокзале ее ожидали Мохини Чаттерджи, вернувшийся из Америки.
Mohini Chatterjee, William Judge, who had returned from America, and Colonel Olcott were waiting for her at the train station in Paris. The French press noisily welcomed the founders of the Theosophical Society. A grand reception was given in their honor at the luxurious mansion of Lady Katniss, the chairman of the Parisian Theosophical Society East and West. But Elena Petrovna, taking advantage of the offer of Countess, Adama moved to her estate near Paris. She wrote to her family, "I ran away from annoying friends who are hungry for phenomena that I am so sick of. And the Countess is a charming woman. She showed me the archives of the 18th century French court, kept in family caches." On the ethereal tablets of the soul's memory, Elena Petrovna read the fateful history of the French kings and her participation in the mission of Saint Germain. She met Saint Germain in the person of Countess Adama. Countess Adama is one of the few close to the royal family who managed to escape the guillotine, and she completed her long life in the Russian city of Odessa. After her death, a manuscript from long wearing turned into the parchment found on the Countess' chest. Here are the notes from this manuscript. France, 18th century, the royal court. After a long absence in Paris, Saint Germain suddenly appears. Countess Adama's maid, I dare to report a guest to you. Oh, a real devil, but I recognized him right away. This is Count Saint Germain. Count, your friend King Louis XV has passed away. France welcomes the new king, Louis XVI. This is a mistake. The new king will prove fatal for France. The king has not a second to lose. I am here incognito, and I will appear not earlier than in 100 years. Please introduce me to the queen. The audience with the queen took place the next day. What do you want, ma'am? I want to save the monarchy. The party of encyclopedists is rushing to power. The clergy will fall, and then the monarchy will fall. Will only the royal dynasty remain? No, it won't stay. There will be only one bloodthirsty republic, and a war with all the horrors. But it will be too late. The storm will sweep away everything in its path. Do you want to be the king? Yes, ma'am, but without the participation of his confidant Count de Maurepas. He is my enemy. It was the end of the audience. Already on the way, Saint-Germain told Countess Ademar, I'm going to leave France right away. The queen will tell his majesty. The king will tell the Count de Maurepas. The latter will sign a decree on my arrest, and the countess continues the story. 2 hours later, I was sitting in my study when the Comte de Maurepas suddenly entered. Saint-Germain, of course, didn't leave you an address? Of course not. But we'll find him. Our bloodhounds have a good nose. At that moment, the door opened and Saint-Germain entered. Count, the king has asked for your advice. You only think about yourself. You prevented me from meeting the king, and thus you ruined the monarchy. The time I can set aside for France is limited, and it has expired. I would have told the king more, but you came between us. Terrible anarchy will engulf France. You will be remembered among those who led France to ruin. Having said this, Saint-Germain went out and disappeared. Already after Blavatsky has left the earthly plane, Countess Wachmeister wrote, Elena Petrovna was in the last century, as in this, the chosen agent of teachers. She lived in Paris during the time of King Louis XVI, when the first attempt was made to create a theosophical core. But here's what Blavatsky herself said. Theosophical seed was thrown into the French soil in the last quarter of the 18th century. The messenger of the White Brotherhood of Saint-Germain tried to create an organization capable of regenerating the disappearing race. The French Revolution stifled this undertaking, and the precious seed could not germinate. 100 years later, as Saint-Germain predicted, the Theosophical Society was created. Such works of Blavatsky as Isis Unmasked, The Key to Theosophy, The Secret Doctrine, given by the teachers of Moria and Kutumi, have not been known by any century in the last 2,000 years. So what? The field of good activity is wide. There are few figures. There was a rift in the London Lodge of the Theosophical Society, headed by Anna Kingsford. Teacher Moria wrote, the spiritual impulse came from us. The undertaking depends on the loyalty and devotion of the race. Human nature is as weak in Adyar as it is in Paris and London. It is a difficult task to combine a huge amount of poor material into a strong and perfect organization. Meanwhile, Olcott appoints a meeting of the London Lodge for April 7th, 1884, to resolve the dispute between the factions, and together with Mohini leaves for London.
В адвокатских конторах отеля «Линкольн-Инн» шло собрание.
There was a meeting in London at the law offices of Lincoln Inn. The argument was simmering. Colonel Olcott tried to create a calm atmosphere, hoping that the public would come to a bad or a good agreement. At that time, a woman in black quickly entered the room and sat down on the edge of the sofa. She listened to the exchange for several minutes, and when someone referred to Blavatsky's words, she abruptly stood up. Yeah, this is so. The assembly was confused. Everyone was talking at once. Her dramatic appearance at the most opportune moment, was the reason for the dissolution of the stormy assembly. Blavatsky had a face-to-face conversation with officials, and it was decided that Anna Kingsford would form a new group called the Hermetic Lodge. Synod, who had the majority of supporters, became the leader of the Old London Lodge. Elena Petrovna spent more than 7 weeks in London at Francesca Arundale's house on Notting Hill, from Arundale's Memoirs. While living with us, Elena Petrovna got up early at 6, 7 in the morning and wrote until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then visitors, scientists, philosophers, writers came. Professor Myers, a member of the Society for Psychical Research, asked Blavatsky to show the phenomenon of receiving letters from Mahatmas. The answer was categorical. No one will force me to do this, unless the teacher orders me to sacrifice myself again. She wrote to Aunt Nadezhda, I will never recover here. It is not life, but some kind of days, visits, lunches, evenings, meetings, daily. I have all the London salon, except perhaps Prime Minister Gladstone, who, according to journalists, shuns me as much as he admires me. It's just some kind of obsession. I'm sick, and not in the best mood, but at such moments I live and act only thanks to Theosophy. In mid-August 1884, Blavatsky, accompanied by Arundel, Mohini, and others, left for Germany at the invitation of the Gebhardt couple. The organizers of the Theosophical Society in Germany. His wife, Mary, played a special role in society. She studied Hebrew and Kabbalah, and she was a devoted disciple of Kabbalist Eliphas Levi. Banker Gustav Gebhardt took care of all travel expenses. Arundel records, fruit baskets, sandwiches, lemonade were brought to the salon at major stations. Elena Petrovna was in a good mood and shone with wit. The town of Elberfeld attracted Blavatsky with its silence, and she readily began to work on the sketches for the Secret Doctrine. But she got seriously ill. The day was drawing to a close. The red-orange sun almost touched the tops of the trees and disappeared behind the clouds. The flapping of the crow's wings extinguished the last glimmer of daylight. Cold shadows mysteriously changed reality. There was a sense of sadness and boundless loneliness. It could be eternal or transitory, but it was still spinning in the whirlpool of the universe. And in the morning, a sensation happened. Newspapers were reprinting fake letters compiled by Emma Colombi. The collapse of Kuthumi, Blavatsky's phenomena are fake. In a letter to Synod, Blavatsky wrote, "Here I stand before you, hung with accusations of the dirtiest fraud that a half-starved medium Emma Colomb is capable of."
В письме к сонету Блаватская писала: «Вот я стою перед вами, обвешанная обвинениями.
Here I stand before you, hung with accusations, the dirtiest fraud, the half-starved medium Emma Colomb is capable. And she began plotting betrayal from the first day she showed up with her husband at the Bombay headquarters of the Theosophical Society. Barefoot, penniless, they almost starved to death. I sheltered them for many years. And here is the result. The fuel in my heart has been burned to the last atom, and from now on you will not find anything but cold ashes." Her associate, Colonel Olcott, an old veteran of the American Civil War, immediately left for the battlefield in Madras. Elena Petrovna, in an interview with the newspaper Bell Mail Gazette, stated, "A hostile wind blew. I'm going to India, to the climate that almost ruined me. Even at the cost of death, I have to expose the slanderers and the compilers of forged letters." On October 31st, 1884, Elena Petrovna went to India. She was accompanied by the Cooper Oakleys and Charles Ledbetter, who joined them. India greeted them enthusiastically. At the Madras pier, Elena Petrovna was handed an appeal signed by 500 students. "You have shed streams of light on the innermost secrets of our ancient religion, and lit the fire of the already extinguished spirituality on the altars of Aryavarta." Olcott recalls, Elena Petrovna insisted on meeting with a judge and a lawyer, but I strongly opposed it. At such a critical moment, concerted action was required by the leaders of the Theosophical Society. A congress was convened. A special committee has been elected, lawyers, statesmen. Their decision was, Blavatsky should not sue slanderers, for the reality of occult phenomena cannot be proved by material means. And besides, the names of the teachers will be exposed to ridicule. In mid-January 1885, Blavatsky became seriously ill. Olcott, who had just left for Burma, had to return urgently. From Cooper Oakley's Memoirs, I took care of her for 3 weeks, but she was getting worse and worse, until finally she fell into a coma. Oakley's husband went to Madras to get permission for cremation. I can't describe what happened next. At about 8 in the morning, Elena Petrovna opened her eyes and asked for breakfast. To the doctor's exclamation, Elena Petrovna replied, doctor, you don't believe in our teachers." A teacher came to me and offered me a choice: to depart in peace now or to live for a few more years. for the sake of writing the Secret Doctrine. I made my choice. I am returning to this earth to live until my tasks are completed. This moment has already sunk to eternity. The world is not given to us directly, and we are always one step behind. And we remember, we remember, we remember. Blavatsky was saying goodbye to India forever. I would like to die here, but my life does not belong to me. I'm saying goodbye. I'm saying goodbye.
Индия откликнулась на мой зов и выкладывает звездные знаки моего пути.
O Bharata, your living waters are laying out the star signs of the path for me. I accept your gift and blessing, and this image I will carry to the end of the days of my life and longer. Before leaving India, Blavatsky wrote a letter to the General Council of the Theosophical Society asking for her resignation. I know that my mission in the name of teachers has not failed, but it is entering a new phase. I bequeath to you the organization of teachers. I have lived with you all the twists of my fate, and the time of my human life is coming to an end. And I say my loving goodbye to each and every one of you. If it happens that this will be my last word, I implore you, remain faithful to society for the good of humanity, fraternally and forever yours, in life and death, Elena Petrovna Blavatsky. In March 1885, the French ship Tiber was sailing from India to Naples. In a letter to Senate, Blavatsky writes, I was loaded onto the steamer as an overdue cargo. I was sitting in a hospital chair, and the ship's winch was lifting me to the deck. I felt broken and unnecessary and depressed. I am afraid of an exacerbation of rheumatism and an attack of kidney disease. Even during the painful sea crossing, Elena Petrovna filled many pages to the Secret Doctrine dictated by the teacher. In April 1885, the French ship Tiber entered the Bay of Naples. Exhausted by ill health and the sea voyage, Elena Petrovna needed silence. In Naples, she hired a carriage and left for the provincial town of Torre del Greco.
неспешная сельская жизнь,
The unhurried rural
естественная
life,
простота и умиротворяющая природа
pacifying
бытия
nature of her soul,
магическим
magically measured
образом
the space.
изменяли реальность
There was a sense of
верой,
peace,
покоем,
eternity, and
вечностью
loneliness.
и
At
одиночеством.
these moments, Elena
Нет
Petrovna
ничего
inhaled
более
the
глубокого, чем
fragrance of
одиночество
life-giving power of
вечности,
life
и
as a
нет
prophetic
ничего
gift of
более
hope, faith, and
уютного,
love.
чем быть человеком. В эти мгновения Елена Петровна вдыхала аромат животворящей
And
жизни,
God is
как
still alive.
свежий дар надежды, веры и любви.
Arriving in the town of Torre del Greco, Elena Petrovna rented a hotel room with a view of Vesuvius and continued working on the Secret Doctrine.
Прибыв в городок Торре дель Греко, Елена Петровна сняла номер с видом на Везувий и продолжила работу над тайной доктриной. Из космических
From cosmic distances, from ancient times, the message came. In the beginning, there was the Word, and God had the Word, and the Word was God. It was before anything began to be. This is the gate through which many souls have passed and are waiting on the other shore. Yes, that's right. She heard the teacher's voice. We call God the first emanation of the Absolute in manifestation. Spiritual light is the manifesting power of sound. They are closely linked. This is the world androgynous. The days were cold and clear. The ruins of Pompeii could be seen at the foot of Vesuvius, once a flourishing civilization with high culture and free morals, a life that was cut short in an instant. The 15,000 city was buried into a 7-meter layer of hot ash. I was born in heaven, but today I'm so far from them. My thoughts are full of sadness, full of sadness. These are the words of the ancient Greek poet. And Vesuvius was still smoking outside the window. Elena Petrovna, without interrupting her work on the Secret Doctrine, writes an article on the instructions of the teacher, True Freedom. I think I have the right to discuss the topic. The ideal of the family is one of the foundations of the truth of civilization. The purity of the race depends on the inviolability of the union of one man and one woman, and a blow to this foundation endangers the existence of the entire race. The time is approaching, and it is already coming when the consequences of the world shift, the religious awe, will fall on you. The time when the authorities will begin to advise and even insist on promiscuous relationships. I ask you, men who have wives, sisters, and daughters, what would you do if you saw the bodies of your women in the clutches of predators in human form?
незаконнорожденности. Небо затянуло
The band of legitimacy is turning black. The sky was overcast. Fog and coolness were creeping in from the mountains. The hotel was damp, without heating, and Elena Petrovna suffered greatly from rheumatism. I need the room to be warm and dry, even in the extreme cold. I'm going to Roerich tomorrow. In a letter to Synod, Blavatsky writes, I don't want to live in any of the major European cities. I like Roerich. One of the teachers lived not far from it. It was he who advised my teacher to send me there. Our life is a little walk, and I hope to complete all my tasks in that endless battle that lasts until the last breath. May the day be blessed when I see you again behind my samovar. Yours in Nirvana, Elena Petrovna Blavatsky.